Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Oh, dear God, use me today as an instrument of your mercy and of your peace, and allow me to help someone in this room tonight. My name is Milt, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm here tonight to tell you a story today, to tell you a story. Alcoholism as it was and is in my life. But before I do that, I would like to thank Ron and his wife for taking me out to dinner and had such a nice time, and for asking me to come down here. I'd like to thank whoever asked me to come down here. I'd like to thank the wonderful hostess we had doing all this nice introducing and stuff. And I'd like to certainly thank the speaker, but she could have kept right on going. I mean, we got the same story. We even tell it the same way. Could have done away with me. I'd like to thank my ma for not believing in abortion. It doesn't make any sense that they would ask me to come down here and do this, because I really ain't a public speaker. I got good grammar. I ain't well educated. I don't even know a lot about the big book. I mean, I must not. I still keep reading it, you see. So it doesn't make any sense that they would ask me to come down here to this to Long Island, if it wasn't for one thing, and that is in 1970 or 1971. It could have been 1972. Whatever year it was that I found out that God had something to do with my not drinking no more, I made a deal with God, and the deal was real simple. You keep me sober, I'll tell everybody how I do that. The fact that I was sitting in the cell in the penitentiary in Ohio when I made the deal, I think is what makes it... You see, what I'm trying to say to you is this, is that once I turn my will of life over to care of God, to any degree, you see, to any degree, once I decide that I have a problem that I cannot handle and I need help, then God can come in and do what he does, you see. He cannot get in. He's very polite. He'll just knock and wait for me to open the door. I just got to get out of the way, and then he can step in. If they would have asked me when I first come in Alcoholics Anonymous to just write down what you want out of Alcoholics Anonymous. Just write down what you want to work. Just write down what you want out of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we'll give that to you, and nothing else. I would have cheated myself in my first year, you see, because I could not in my wildest imagination fathom me ever being over in this part of the neighborhood. I could have never seen the places I've gone and the things I've done and the love I've felt and the peace that I couldn't have imagined that. And if I would have just settled for what I knew about instead of what God was offering me, I'd have cheated myself almost immediately. Almost immediately. If I was to ask you, what's your biggest problem? I don't know what your answer would be. But if you was to say to me, hey, Mary, what's your biggest problem? I'll tell you this right off the top. If I knew what my biggest problem was, I wouldn't have it. Because I'm a doer. I'm a doer. Something need to be done. Let's get it done. I love to live in the solution and not into the problem. I love to live in the solution. Last week I was replacing a washer on my faucet in the kitchen. And then I was replacing the faucet. And then I was replacing the new faucet with a new faucet. This could happen to anybody. And then I was replacing all the plumbing and all the valves. But I got it done, you see, because there's a problem, let's get it done. I know what the problem is, here's a solution, let's get it done, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. I was drinking gin once. And when I come to, I had my hands wrapped around this guy's throat. Now, trust me, it's not the first guy I have ever strangled, and nor was it the last, but I couldn't remember what he'd done. It stopped me from strangling him. I just couldn't, so I asked myself this question: how'd this happen? You know, how'd I get in this kind of position? And the answer is really simple, isn't it? Gene. And if I'm a doer and I know that gene's a problem, what do you think I'm going to do? Stop drinking gin, absolutely. That ain't tough. Anybody could figure that out. You don't have to be Polish to come up with that one, buddy. I was drinking Canadian Club and Budweiser once. And when I come to, I was laying on the kitchen floor, and my gun was empty, and I had no holes in the walls or ceilings, and I don't remember squeezing the trigger, and that's scary. And I asked myself that same question: how'd this happen? Now, how'd this happen? And the answer is very simple, isn't it? Canadian Club and Budweiser. And if I'm a doer and I know that Canadian Club and Budweiser is a problem, what do you think I'm going to do? Stop drinking Canadian Club and Budweiser. That's exactly. Now, Canadian Club or Budweiser is just fine, you see. But not the two together for a guy like me. It's nothing more difficult than that. I was in August of 1969. This is an old story. Because I'm a very old guy. And a lot of things changed since then, you know that, but in Alcoholics Anonymous, we're such a small and closed society that you see that change even greater. It's even magnified because it's such a small society we live in. I mean, hell, when I first come in Alcoholics Anonymous, the men had tattoos and the women had earrings, and all of that is just turned around, little bit. I know it was a Tuesday, because at that time they used to have what they called Tuesday night at the movies. And this particular Tuesday they were showing The Magnificent Seven. That's a man's movie. I'm going to watch the movie. I got this girl, this is a special girl. She had just finished high school and had a job and all of her teeth. So she was a keeper. She was the kind of girl you would keep around, and we were going to watch this movie, and we were going to make some popcorn, and not that microwave popcorn either. And you know why? Yeah, they didn't have microwaves then. Kind you put it in the pot and you have to shake up. And so we're going to watch it. While we're waiting for the movie to start, my brother called me on the phone. He said, "Come on out, let's do some drinking." And you know, I told him, I said, "I don't want to do no drinking. And I'm going to watch this movie. I got this girl. We're going to make some popcorn." And he convinced me. He convinced me to come out and do some drinking. And we went up to the beer joint and had a couple of shooters of bourbon. And I told her, I said, you might as well go home now because I'm drinking. We got any bourbon drinkers in here? Any bourbon drinkers? Not me. Yeah, it's not a lot. I didn't drink bourbon as much as I had an affair with bourbon. I mean, it was a passionate thing, bourbon. And I mean, I really got involved in it. You could write sonnets and poems and about how I felt about bourbon. I mean, really, I would get on one of these drunks and you'd be just a couple of days into the drunk. You know what I mean? And I'm not quite awake. Be laying in that bed, not quite awake. You know, like in a little daze, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Just laying in there, kind of slobbering all over, and not quite awake, not quite asleep. Just kind of dazed. I hadn't wet the bed. I was still in it, and I would have daydreams of bourbon. I would dream of bourbon. I would dream that I was in a bathtub filled with bourbon. And when I wanted to drink, slide down and take a little hit. I mean, I had a passionate affair with bourbon. And we got a thing called the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and they got a thing in there called an inventory 4-step. And it says that selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of our problem. It says that there are things that shut out the sunlight of the spirit. They say there are 3 areas of our life that must be addressed, and it's resentment, fear, and sexual conduct. And it says that these are the 3 areas that will keep God out, that allow us to hurt other people and other people to hurt us. And so they address these areas, and they say that there is resentment's the #1 offender. It says it takes more drunks out of Alcoholics Anonymous than anything else. Not the only thing, but the #1 offender. And so when I work with a guy, when I don't want sponsors, it means nothing more than I take you through the steps. When work with a guy, we start with this when they're ready, you know, with their decision to do these steps, and whenever they decide they want what we have and they're ready to go to their lengths to get it, then it says you work steps. And so we start working steps, and see, because the steps can be a funny thing, you know. They can be overwhelming and confusing, like trying to eat an apple all at once. Yeah, it knocks you out of the box. So we just take it one little bite at a time. We're just a little dumb guy approach to it. We're not going to do all the steps. We're just going to do this one, this section, this piece, this, just a little one direction at a time. So when I work with guys, I always ask them what, just like out of the first question in the first, who you mad at? That's all it is. It's all it is, the inventory. It's who you mad at. That's a no-brainer. You know, there's nothing too difficult about that. If you've ever been in a joint or anywhere near you just sit and talk with the guys, you always tell about that no good, but put them down, that's who we're talking about, that put her down, and that's all it is. So, and the second column is nothing more than what they did. See, this is you're just taking it from here and putting it to here. It's not like big deal. The results is big deal, but the effort is minimal. And the third column is multiple choice. It's like they give you 6 or 7 things to pick from, and you just put how it affected whatever they did. And the nicest part about the multiple choice is no wrong answer. Because no one grades your paper. You know, there's no AA teacher code. That's it's not like that. You just write down how you perceive it. And in that fourth column, if you want to call it a column, but probably the biggest leap is that we start to look at the people who hurt us as sick people. They never did that before. They were just mean people or no good people. But I started to look at them as spiritually sick, and then the change starts to take place. And then we pray a prayer, and the prayer is not for them to quit hurting me. The prayer is for me to look at them and give them patience, tolerance, and pity. And how can I serve the people that hurt me? And that's what our early, just a little principle of love thy neighbor and help those around in that. And that's all that is how can I help the people that hurt me? And we avoid argument. And then the fifth column, of course, is nothing more than, if you want to use that, just our mistakes. What did I do to them? And then tag that. And there's a real relief in it, a real understanding, a real freedom in what we find in that. Maybe not immediately, but it'll always be there. So when I work with guys, I just ask them, who you mad at? And real men in my neighborhood. See, I ain't mad at nobody. I believe you're not mad at anybody. I understand that, not mad at nobody at that moment. But I'll tell you, when you get a flat tire, you're on your way to work, or you're on your way somewhere, you got to rain stuff, so you get a flat tire. I start to remember things, you know. I start to get feelings. When I get in an argument with my old lady over who's going to take the garbage out, you know, it's not the garbage that's the point. It's that I have all of this stuff inside me that has never been looked at, never been taken care of, never been addressed, and then it's into a rip-roaring argument and all of this stuff that happens, but at that moment I'm not mad at anybody, but it's always there unless I do something about it. And I'll tell you this honestly, a couple of shooters of bourbon. And I remember everybody that's ever hurt me. And I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them. So where I come to, I'm in the city jail. And I ask myself this question. How'd this happen? I mean, the night before, everything's in my favor. I got a good movie. I got this girl. We're going to make some popcorn. Everything is going my way. And now I'm in jail. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I don't know how that happened from popcorn and movies to city jail. It's somewhere, so I don't get it. And so if I don't know what the problem is, I don't have a solution. It's nothing more difficult than that. I don't know what the solution is upon I didn't get it. Now it's October 1969, which is just a very short time from where we started this story, huh? And it was I remember it was a beautiful October evening. Things are pretty good. I mean, I'm on bond. But that was okay because I was on bond when they put me on bond. And that was all right because I was probation when they put me on both of those bonds. That could happen to anybody. So, But it was a beautiful evening because I didn't know the bonds meant a lot of money. I paid them off. Not a lot of people were looking for me. This is a good condition for my life at that time. And the moon was full. I remember the moon being full, and it was one of them warm October evenings, and I had one of them DP undershirts and just a little jacket, and things were good. Things were good. And I was walking into the beer giant, and I must have worked overtime because they started drinking before me, which is very unusual. Now, you got to know I'm a barfly. See, that's the big thing. You got to know I'm a barfly, because when I talk about not drinking, it's not drinking, it's not living. That's my whole life in that beer joint. That is everything. That's the focus of my attention, and has been for some years. This, you can understand it. So I walked into the beer joint. As I'm walking in, I looked down at the end of the bar, and there's a girl in that bar who had assaulted and battered and kicked all the windows out of her cars. And the things you do on weekends. And I looked at that girl, and I said to myself, you know, what's done is done. What's done is done. And I bellied up to the bar, and I moved the guys over. That little bar. Come on, move over. Give me some meat over here. I ain't even had one yet. Come on, I'm dying over here. Let me see, what am I going to have? And they know what I'm going to have. They got that bourbon lined up. It's good to have a home bar. It's where they get to know you and understand you, and you can share your problems with, and they know. See, that's a good thing. So I throw that shooter of bourbon in, and I do that little barfly thing. Damn, my God. Give me some water. And they bring the water over, and I dip my little finger in and go like this. Because I'm a funny guy. And then I look down at the end of the bar, and I see that girl, and I say to myself, I'm going to go throw her out. I don't know how to throw that girl out. Now, I don't know if they got these guys here in Long Island or not. I don't know if they got these guys in Cleveland. I don't know who they are. Who do you think they are? Some kind of Charlie Bronson guys, you know what I mean? They got their nose up somebody's, you know what they're doing, and they yap at you. This is America, and she got rights, and you can't do this, and that, and you can't. It's like them little Puerto Rican dogs, you know? They just do that yapping, and it's so annoying, and you cannot reason with these heroes. You cannot. There is no. Yeah, and then I picked up a big stool, and I gave him a couple of, and then I went over and tore her up. And her boyfriend too, for hanging around with bad company. So when I turn around, this guy, it'll be the toughest guy that he's on his feet. After what I have administered to him, he never guessed what he got in his hand. Play with me a little bit. Take a guess. Yes! Yes, he's got a gun. Guess what he does with the gun? Yes! Yes, guess what I do? No, I hit him again. Guess what he does? Yes! It got to be like a Little Rascals cartoon. It shoot me, I hit him. It shoot me. He shot me here, he shot me here. And he shot me in the head, and I would have to take my left hand and clear the blood out of my eyes, and so I could hit him with my right hand. And finally he ended up shooting me in the arm, and the bullet went right up, still in there as a matter of fact, and right up the bone. They couldn't take it out. But at that time, my arm was paralyzed, my right hand. So, but I needed my left hand to take the blood out. My right hand was paralyzed, so maybe this fight's over. Surely everyone's been in this position. And I cleaned the blood out of my eyes, and the guy was in front. He pulled the hammer back on that pistol, and he squeezed that trigger, and the gun was empty. I walked outside the door. It was a beautiful October evening. The moon was full, and it was warm. I'd only been in here about 4.5 minutes. And I have a dilemma now. Because I know I'm in a lot of trouble. I know I'm losing a lot of blood, and the hospital is 18 blocks away, and I ain't got no car. So I'm going to have to run. Now, I tell you this simply because this is an insight into me. It's something very important, and that's I have a thing called male pride. I have a god-awful pride. I have a pride that is just absolutely deadly. I would rather run to the hospital and die on my own than ask someone for help. Male pride. Male pride. Women always make fun of it. Figure it out. We'll get there sooner or later. No sense in asking how to get there. I have a pride. Do they have them Chuck E. Cheese places out here? They got them Chuck E. Cheese. You go to one of them Chuck E. Cheese places, and they got this thing, and it's got a round thing on the top, and the thing pops up, and you hit the thing, and it pops down, and pops up over, and you hit the thing over there. That's my pride. I whoop it down and beat it down, and it pops up over there. Over here doesn't look like my pride. It looks like your fault. And without an inventory on my resentment, I have no idea of the depth and length of my pride. I have no idea the trouble it causes me. And with this inventory, I realize that I create 95% of my own trouble. I've never been a victim. I'm a perpetrator. I'm a perpetrator because I want something from you, some sort of selfishness, some sort of fear or some sort of pride. I do what I got to do to get what I want, and I found that in that inventory. And with that thought in mind, every time something goes on in my life, I look to me. I look to me. I live in the solution and not the problem. But when I wake up, I'm in a hospital because they very seldom put you in jail for being shot. And I ask myself this question. How'd this happen? Yeah, you been there now. How'd this happen? I mean, it's a beautiful lead. Everything's going in my favor. I look and I see a situation that is totally unimportant. Doesn't even mean nothing to me. And I realized that I walked in there and all I did was take a drink. That's one drink. That's all I did was take a drink, and my thinking changed with that one drink. Something that was totally meaningless to me, now I would give my life for. Something that held no value to me, and the whole value system changed. And I realized that all I did was take a drink. That's powerful. That's powerful. And I'll tell you something, that change has always taken place in me. I just never seen it. I drank past the point of recognition. I drank 612, a case of Fifth, and I drunk a couple of months. I could never see that change take place. And for the first time in my drinking, I stopped at one drink. Not voluntarily, but that's it's not the point. It's not the point. It's that I stopped at one drink and I realized that this whiskey changes me. So if I'm a doer and I know that bourbon's a problem, what do you think I'm gonna do? I'm drinking bourbon. That's not tough. That's not tough. Now it's November 1969. I'm in the Cleveland Clinic. I've been there many times. I've been in many major surgeries in Cleveland Clinic. I mean, I'm on first name basis with the nurses. They know me. The doctor and I are pals. Pals. And he's a surgeon, so he knows me inside and out. I mean, I'm 2 weeks into that clinic. He walks in, he grabs the chart, and he said, "Oh, man, Milt," he says, "you lost a terrific amount of weight." He said, "We have to give you some vitamins, some proteins, some milkshakes." He said, "You want some beer?" Because he knows me. He says, "How about some bourbon? You want some bourbon?" And 2 weeks in the hospital, I told him, I said, "Want your hospital wrecked? Because when I drink bourbon, I go Indian." But a couple of beers, they never hurt nobody. I didn't say I learned quick. So I do a month in that hospital, and after a month I get out of that hospital with the idea I'm going to have a couple of beers. I walk out of that hospital, I walk across 105, I walk into a beer joint and have a couple of beers, then I have a couple of shooters, and I'm off on a drunk, and that's all there is to it. It's nothing, that's how they all start, ain't it? Just off on a drunk, and that's how I drank. A bender, a toot, whatever term you want to use, that's me. I'm on one of these. But there was something wrong with this drunk because I wasn't eating nothing. It's very unusual for Polacks not to eat something, you know. We eat big, you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, I'd have a bag of chips and a Smoky. Put some ketchup on that. Breakfast of champions. I drank for days on chips. Sometimes I would have them pickles, pig's feet. You know, we'll put some hot. He-Man, real He-Man food. And I wasn't sleeping either. I'd get home at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I would be so tired. I would be so tired that I would lay down with my clothes on. I'd be so tired after drinking all day. And then I would sleep all night long, and I would wake up, and I'd be covered with perspiration. It would be an hour and a half, 2 hours later. I'd just be sweating, just covered in it, and I'd have these heebie-jeebies. I'd be coming apart over here. You know what I'm trying to say? What I didn't know was my body needed a drink. That's what I'm trying to say to you, is that my body needed a drink so bad it would pull me out of a sound sleep. And I didn't know what the problem was. And it was never this bad. It was never this bad before. I should have been sleeping till the afternoon of the next day. And I would lay down after pacing the floor for 20 minutes or so, and I would sleep again and wake up, and it'd be an hour later, and I'd be covered with perspiration, and it'd be shaking and just coming apart, and up and down and up and down. And finally, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, the beer joints would be open, and I would hit the door running. And I didn't have to waste no time getting dressed, you see. Because I was ready to roll. And I would hit that door, and I'd get in that beer joint, and I'd throw a couple shooters of bourbon down because I'm coming apart at the seams, and I'm telling you, I would like trank down. I can't even explain it to you. It's the most amazing thing. I would have all of this stuff going on, and just a couple shooters of bourbon, and I would have like clarity of thought. My shakes would go away, and I would realize as I looked at what was going on that I was in trouble here. You see, it was never this bad before. I never had this kind of problem making new friends, the 5 o'clock crew. And I don't know, I would see that I got to do something about what's going on. And then I'd have a couple more shooters, and I'd be bagged up all over again, and whatever I'm going to do, I'll do tomorrow. Because now I'm back on the drunk. I'm still on the drunk. And it was never this bad before. Then I'll tell you a secret. If you're sitting in this room and you're an alcoholic and you haven't worked the steps, because it's inevitable you have to drink. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's what the big book says. Hardly any of us will stay sober anything like a year without some sort of power. So if you're sitting in this room and haven't worked the steps, this could maybe help you. Of course, you're going to drink again. And that when you drink like this, there's nothing at all wrong with stinking. There's the key. There's the key. Is that the problem arises is when you know it's you that stinks. See, now I'm smelling me now. This bourbon is coming out of me. The perspiration, I smell like bourbon. It smells like pure alcohol coming out of my system in a kind of a stinking form. And I am not taking a bath. You know, I got a bathtub, but I need a drink more than I need a bath. I got clothes, but I need a drink more than I need personal hygiene. I mean, I just need a drink, and I'm rancid. The word I'm looking for. First time, rancid. Just sweat after days after weeks. I got rancid. That's the word I'm looking for. And I could smell myself, and I knew it was me. And I would stand at that bar in the position. I always felt I drank standing up because I would be ever alert for danger. But if I sat down, that's it. And these guys would be holding a conversation, and I would be like I couldn't think. You know, I can't even describe that to you. I mean, I would be like I couldn't get a thought in there. I was just like a sponge. You know, my brain was soaked and running, filled up with this alcohol. And they'd be holding a conversation, and I'd be standing there, and they'd say, "What do you think?" Well, we don't have no tough questions in my neighborhood, but I couldn't come up with the answer. I knew the answer, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't get it from my brain to my tongue. I would rehearse, practice saying the answer. And when I got it all done and got everything ready, I'd blurt the answer out. Oh, hell, it's 15 minutes, you know, from when they asked the question. You know, it's like when I'm full. And I would look at the bathroom, and I'd say to myself, I got to go to the bathroom, and I would lose track of that thought. And then I would look down, and someone had wet my pants. And I'll tell you, I didn't want to live like this. It was never this bad before. You know, it was never like this before. But I knew something had to be done. But I also knew this, that when I'm on a drunk like this, I don't have any say-so when it's over. you know, you could put me in a detox, you could put me in city jail, and I did, and they put never in detox, but in jail. And when I get out, I start drinking. The drunk was only interrupted by those few hours they kept me until I went before the. I mean, it ain't done till it's done. The drunk has to go the distance. It just has to burn itself out because I have no control over it. What usually happens is that I drink so much and eat so little, my stomach would go shut, so I could. I would drink so much alcohol, I would dehydrate. My throat would swell to I couldn't physically get another drink, and I would lay in that bed so sick in my own mess that I couldn't go get another drink, and then the drunk was over. That's where you start. Or I go to jail, and that's exactly what happened in this particular day, January 15th of 1970. Picked me up, put me in the cell in the city jail, and they left me there. And they didn't charge me. They didn't charge me because if they charged me, I could get bonded. And they didn't know if this guy was going to live or die, so they left me in there for 72 hours, 3 days on suspicion. and for 3 days, they didn't bring me no coffee and donuts for breakfast because they were mad at me. And for 3 days, they didn't bring me no coffee and bologna sandwiches for lunch because they was mad at me. And for 3 days, they didn't bring me no coffee and salami sandwiches, the kind with the tiny little seeds in it for supper, because they was mad at me. But for 3 days, they didn't bring me no whiskey either. And 3 days without whiskey, and I dry out. 3 days without whiskey, and I sober up. And it didn't cost me $18,000. So if you know a guy and he really wants to get sober, or you don't work the steps, and you ain't got 18 grand, you ain't got hospitalization, I say punch a cop. Boom. and they'll dry you out. Oh, they're going to warm you up, too. I mean, they're going to get warm. But for every action, there's a reaction. That's Newton's law. So now I'm sober. And now I'll give you this. When you drink like that, coming off whiskey is very difficult. Very difficult. 4 or 5 hours sitting in that cell without whiskey, and I'm shaking, and I got the heavies, and I'm throwing up, and when I get done with the heaves, I get the runs, and then you get the runs and the heaves, and you be doing this. And sometimes you call it wrong, well, yes or no? No? Not here in Long Island? Oh. So you might not read about this in the Hazelden Guide, but this is all true. And then comes the worst part of any drunk, and that's for me. That was always them god-awful dry heaves. I mean, I could throw up for 15 or 20 minutes on a sip of water, and you got hot pipes, you know, you got to take the sip of water. And I wouldn't just throw up. I would get into this. I would like retch. I would like convulse. I mean, my whole body would get into this terrible, terrible thing, and nothing ever comes up no matter how hard I try. Just a little slime, some kind of, once in a while a chunk. But I always thought there was a body part I loosened up somewhere, a kidney or liver or something that was coming out. But now I'm sober. I'm 3 days without a drink, and they finally charged me, and I finally got bonded. But I looked in that cell, and I realized that this was a big problem. I realized sitting in that cell in 1970 in the middle of January that I could not safely take a drink of alcohol in any form, because even if I drink beer, I end up here. Even no matter what I drink, I realize that this is going to be the end results of any drink that I take. I got information here. I'm armed with some real facts here. And if I'm a doer and I know that alcohol in any form is something I don't want to do, what do you think I'm going to do? Play with me, please. I've traveled such a long distance. Stop drinking. I'm going to stop drinking completely, and that's the end of it as far as I'm concerned. In that cell, before I got bonded out, I made up my mind I was never going to drink again. And I knew I would never drink again simply because I said so. I'd never had this desire before, and it's nothing more than that. I got a desire to stay sober. We read these what do they call them things? traditions. Traditions. And it says the only requirement of membership is a desire to stay sober. Well, I had the desire to stay sober. What's the requirement for kindergarten? 6 years old. Don't get you no education, but it gets you in the door. Get you in the door. And at that time, I had a desire to stay sober. I didn't even know you. I didn't know you. All I needed was a desire and a willingness, and I proved I had a willingness. Shit, I went and got a job and went to work every day. That's two different things, getting a job and going to work every day. I mean, I was just doing a job. See what I'm trying to say? It's not like I was a landscaper or something. I mean, I got responsibility, and I got recreation, I got all these things I'm going to do. I got a plan. I got a plan. I'm going to do all these things. So I walk out the door, and I got this plan, and I'm going to do all of these things, and I know I'll never drink again because I said so. And it's really nothing more difficult than that. As far as I could see in my life, if I set my mind to it, I'm a done deal. It's a done deal because I'm a pretty strong-willed guy. You can understand that. Not extremely bright, but a pretty strong-willed guy. So I walk out the door and I do everything I say I'm going to do, and things are going well, and all right. So I'm like a little animal, like a big animal, like a tiger in a cage. You got a zoo around here somewhere, New York City? Go to New York City. Look at the tigers in the cage. This is what tigers do in these cages. These are not happy tigers. These tigers are restless, irritable, and discontented. And that's exactly what I was without a drink. I was awfully upset. You can imagine. Oh, if you've ever been there. You know what I'm saying, but I wasn't wetting my pants. That's a big thing for a guy with my pride. And I'll tell you, if I could have stayed sober from that day to this, I'd have never come to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'd have never come to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'd have settled for just not wetting my pants. I'd have settled for sobriety. And I got a book, a blue one you see around sometimes. And it says, anyone who says sobriety is enough is unthinking. Unthinking. And boy, that was me. I'd have settled for sobriety. I'm sober a month. In the condition I told you in, like restless, irritable, and discontented, and the guys pull up on Sunday night and they blow the horn. Hey, come on out, let's go for a ride. Of course I'm going to go for a ride. I told her. I said, I'm going to go with the guys. Get in the car with the guys. I mean, you guys are just driving around. You know guys do. You know, we smoke, swear, scratch. We ain't doing nothing. We're just guy stuff. You know, just driving around doing stuff. And these guys stopped and got a six-pack of beer. And they said to me, they said, you want one of these beers? And I'm going to tell you something. I did not want one of those beers. But one of the furthest things from my mind was one of those beers. But I'll tell you this. I am an alcoholic at that time, as I am now. And at that time, I was in the chronic and progressed stages of alcoholism, as I am now. And at that time, I had no mental defense against the first drink. I mean, when they offered me a beer, I had to take it, not because I wanted it, but because I had no defense. And I'm not cured of alcoholism. What I have today is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. And in 1970, I had no spiritual condition. Hence, when they offered me to drink, I took it. In 1997, I have a spiritual condition that I maintain on a daily basis. Hence, when they offer me a drink, I react sanely and normally. I can go anywhere and do anything as long as I keep in fit spiritual condition. What says in that book, work for me. Still working for me. So on a daily basis, when I wake up and I got to face the world, and we do, we do, I got to go to the grocery store, you know. I got to go to dry cleaners, get my clothes out of cleaners. I got to do this, I got to do that, I go over there, or say my prayers. What do you think I do? Absolutely. 10 and 11 every day, books every day, just like it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And amidst all mistakes that I might make in my life, they're nothing more than points of growth, a chance to get better, spiritually fit. But I didn't have that then, and you know the deal. They offered me a drink, I took the drink, and something happens to me that doesn't happen to them, and it's something's called a phenomenon of craving. I took one of these beers, and they had one of these beers, and they went home for supper. I wasn't hungry. They got up for work. Well, I wasn't home yet. And they went to work, and I wouldn't think of it. Now it's Monday afternoon. I'm laying on the bathroom floor, and I ain't laying there because it's fragrant. I'm laying there because I'm sick. I am sick. I'm laying, and it's cool. Yes or no? Okay. What a nice place that bathroom floor. It's like my mother's womb or something, you know. It's just the right temperature. I don't know. And I lay on that bathroom floor and I asked myself this question. I didn't say it. Hey, whoa. I ain't from California. Or New York. I heard that in there. And so I asked myself this question, how did this happen? Because I really couldn't believe this happened. I mean, no one was more surprised I got drunk than me because I really said I'd never drink again. And I meant it, and I had a sincere desire, and I had a willingness, and I had information, I had facts. There's no doubt about it, and there I was laying on a bathroom floor. So I recanted the events of the previous evening. That means I asked myself, what the hell happened here? I don't know. I don't know how this happened. I do not know how that happened. See, I call this story the crack in the feet of God. Because up until that point, I was God. I was calling the shots, making the decision, manipulating and maneuvering you to get what I wanted. And that third step is a two-part thing. The first part is I got to quit doing that, and then God can do what he does. He can be the father, I will be his child. He can be the principal, I will be his agent. He will be the master, I will be his worker. But until I stop doing that, and really, this third step is liquid for me. It's not boom, do it and leave it. It flows with me wherever I go. And whenever I stop doing this business of getting you to do what I want you to do, then God can take a bigger part of my life. It's liquid with me. It flows with me. Constantly flows with me. It's a constantly growing process, these steps for me. Spiritual progress. That's all it is for me. That's all it is for me. I look at I'm laying on that bathroom floor and I'm sick and I'm really shocked. I couldn't believe that this happened to me because I got the idea I'm up against something here. Laying on that bathroom floor, I got the idea that I'm up against something that's bigger than me. I never got that feeling before. Just maybe this is a big thing. So I look at recant the events of the previous evening, and it means I looked and said, I'm sitting at home, things are good. These guys come, that's okay. These guys drive, these guys take me around, these guys stop and get these guys. And it come to me what the problem was, you see. And it come to me what the problem had always been. It was these guys. These guys. As a matter of fact, because these were not nice guys, you know. My ma told me when I was 14 years old, she said, Milty, don't hang around with those guys. They're going to get you in trouble. By the time I was 17, my mom was telling them guys, don't hang around with my son. It's going to get you in trouble. It didn't stop her from loving me. She knew, but she loved me. Some people call that codependent. I call it love. She just loved the snot out of me. It had done anything for me. Anyhow, I'm not going to hang around with these guys. If I'm a doer and I know these guys is a problem, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm not going to hang around with these guys. The answer is very simple at that. I'm not going to hang around with these guys. Good decision, not nice guys. You know the drill. You go to work the next day and you're so sick you can't have coffee. You're shaking. You got in the bathroom. I had another thing, alcoholic poisoning. I didn't want to get into that. I lost my tolerance for alcohol. Just a half a night of drinking, and I was so sick it was unbelievable. And that's the only way I can put it to you. And I go to work and I couldn't have coffee, and the next day I could have coffee and then maybe a cup of soup, you know. You ever see the machines for, at that time, 15 cents you could get chicken soup? There was no chicken in the soup. It's just yellow and got green stuff in it. But, you know, you could get that in. Lots of crackers. You squeeze all them crackers in. And then the next day, which is like Thursday or Friday or something, I am back. I mean, I'm back. I'm scarfing 6 sandwiches at break time. Whoopee-ki-yi-yo, man, I am, you looking at me, man, I'm on the money. I'm on the money here. I'm feeling good. I mean, you know what I'm saying? 25 after 3, I got my time card in my hand, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to go home. and I'm going to fix something, paint something, nail something. Man, I hit that time clock at 3:30, and I drive up 55th, and I pass Broadway, and I turn in the alley behind Western Auto, and I walk in the back of the Hub Cafe, and I order a shooter. And I tell you, I never gave it a thought. I'll tell you, it never occurred to me. I'll tell you, from 25 after 3 to 20 to 4, I forgot. I am an alcoholic, and I cannot recall the pain, the promise of a day or a week or a month ago. I mean, I'm just like the guy in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous said. He threw that drink down and he started pounding on the bar. That was me. I mean, really, just yelling. I knew I made a mistake. I knew it was wrong. Oh my, no, I've drank again. Or something like that. I was eloquent in my own neighborhood. And I knew I made a mistake, and you already know the deal. You already know the deal, and the deal is this, that when I take a drink, the drink takes a drink, and the drink takes the man. When I take a drink, something happens to you and I that doesn't happen to them, and that's something that's called the phenomenon of craving, and that only occurs in alcoholics. It never occurs in the average temperate drinker. That's what it says in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It only occurs in guys like me. It's a guy in Los Angeles, California, a good friend of mine named Davey Barge, and he's got the best disease concept story I've ever heard in my entire life. He was 21 years old. He was married and had 5 kids. He's a very busy guy. He had his own drywall contracting business. He was making a good living for him and his family, and his wife said to him, "Davey, go to the store, give me a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and a dozen eggs." And he said, "Of course I will." And he goes to the store and gets a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and a dozen eggs, and on the way home he thinks to himself, "I'm going to stop and get a beer." And when he comes to, he's in Kansas. And guess what he got in his hand? Loaf of bread, gallon of milk, and a dozen eggs. See, he's not drinking to run away from a bad marriage or a bad family or a bad business. He's drinking to overcome a craving that only occurs in alcoholics, and that's why they don't understand us. They drink and laugh and put lampshades on their head. We drink and destroy families and homes and break hearts and go to Kansas. That makes sense to me. And so I realized that I made a mistake, and I realized that I should quit, but I realized this, that I'll just have a couple more, and I'll be home by 5, and then I'll be home by 7, and you know the deal. I mean, you know the deal. And I'm just a few hours of drinking. I already told you I had alcoholic poisoning. I got very ill, and my complexion changed, and everything changed. And there's common threads. There's common threads that run through every alcoholic. We're about running out of time here. Where's my baby at? You ready that we're done? Huh? 5? Okay, it doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? I had breakfast. I didn't, you know. Huh? Don't throw nothing. Did you say you're going to throw something? What'd she say? Get out of the room? You said get out of the room? What'd you say? She's really, honestly, she has a smile, her whole face smiles. Stand up and show them that smile, please. So, well, where was I? Oh! Common threads that run through every one of us. Runs through you, runs through me, runs through male, runs through female, through every alcoholic and even potential alcoholic, I believe. And some of these threads, and that's what makes it so valuable, you know, because I know you because I know me. I know you and my past is what is it called? My greatest asset. Because I know you. When I share it with you, my past is my greatest asset. If I eat that past, it's my greatest liability. Kills me. Same past. And one of these threads is loneliness. Loneliness, I understand, you understand loneliness. And I would drink for a couple hours in this beer joint, and I would look up and down the bar. I'd be in the bag. I'd be all bagged up already. I lost my tolerance. And I would look up and down the bar, and I would realize that I don't have a friend in here. I don't even know anybody in here. I haven't got a friend in the whole world. My sponsor calls that melancholy. Big Book calls it self-pity, and whatever you call it, I'm wallowing in it. Man, I got it up there. I got it. All my friends are down at the Tremendous Lounge. I do my little Broadway walk down the Tremendous Lounge. I walk in the Tremendous Lounge. There's 75 guys in that Tremendous Lounge. I went to high school with 50 of them. I went to grade school with 25 of them. See, I'm a neighborhood guy. I lived 5 houses from where I was born. I was in that neighborhood. My father was born in that neighborhood. My kids were born in that neighborhood. It's my neighborhood. I'm a neighborhood guy, red brick guy. And these are the best friends I've ever had. They shed their blood for me, and I shed my blood for them. And I stand in that doorway looking at these best friends I've ever had, and I'm all alone. And that's the loneliness of an alcoholic, all alone in a room full of friends, all alone in a room full of people who care and love. You know, it doesn't surprise me when a guy don't want to go home to his family. It's not they don't love him. It's he can't feel that warmth. I couldn't feel the warmth, the joy. They hadn't changed, you see. I was so self-centered. I was so wrapped up in myself and my pain that I couldn't feel the camaraderie they'd always given me. And I tell you honestly, I don't think women ever understand how important it is for a man to have pals. I do not know why that is. I do not. It's the way it's made. It's just like like women got to have mirrors, men got to have pals. Start the car up. Don't leave me hanging out here. And around the front. I don't know why that is. It's just the way it is. Men got to have pals, and you see them all the time in Alcoholics, and it's nothing new. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Pals. I got pals. And there's 2 kinds of drunks nobody likes. Nobody likes fighting drunks. Nobody likes weeping drunks. And I spent my whole life being a fighter. Now here I'm hanging on some girl. And I'd be snotting all over this guy down. He knows me as a fighter, so he don't punch me in the mouth. The worst part of the whole story is I don't black out. I wake up the next day and I remember the display of manhood I put on the night before, disgusting, sniveling, whining like some kind of, I don't know what, you know what I'm trying to say. And it just got worse for me. It just got worse for me. I got a fear. I'd sit on the side of that bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and I had a fear that paralyzed me. And I can't describe that, and I really mean that I can't describe. I would be immobile. I was afraid to walk out the door. Fear. I've been in a lot of lockups, a lot of puzzle shops, a lot of jitter joints, whatever term you want to use. And you see these guys in these places, these rocking guys. They have rocking guys out here. They do this rocking business. Not in a rocking chair. They're in a regular chair. And they mumble. So when you see a guy like that, you give him a lot of room, you know, because he's going to do something to himself in a little while, you know. And if you fool with him, you mess with him, he's going to do something to you. They got a clinical name for this. I read it in a Reader's Digest. The what? No, they call it the disgruntled postal worker syndrome. Yeah, they sit there rocking and mumbling, and then it becomes clear what the next step is, and they wrap bandoliers, ammunition, machetes, bayonets, machine guns, and shotguns, and they go to work. Punch in. Anybody seen the boss? and there I am at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm rocking. And I'm mumbling. And I know what this means, you see. I know I'm losing my agates. I mean, I'm sure of that. And I don't have whatever I used to have in order for me to stop the insanity, to pull it back into reality, to stop the crazies from happening. I've lost it. It was never this bad before. And I just can't stop this insanity from taking place in my life. And the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the second area of our life, by the way, which they say we need to approach, that shuts out the sunlight of the Spirit, that allows us to continue to hurt other people and other people to continue to hurt us. It's the second area of our life, is this fear. And it says this, it says fear is an evil and corroding thread. It says the fabric of our existence is shot through and through it. It says it sets into motion trains of circumstances of misfortune we feel we don't deserve. I don't know what that means exactly, but I memorized it. But I did go to buy a car once, a Chevy Caprice. Could have been a Malibu, but it was black, and I remember that. And I got the guy down to $1,750, and then we started dealing. You know what I'm trying to say? I want an oil change. Oh yeah, you can have an oil change. Yeah, I want that sticker off there. Okay, we'll take the sticker. I want a new spare tire. Okay, we'll give you. You know, these used car guys. You know what I'm saying? They're like tree trimmers. I mean, you know what I'm saying. And when I got them all down to where I wanted them to go and got the price where I wanted to get done, I told them this. I'll let you know tomorrow. And then I wake up Saturday morning and I remember like waking up this morning. The sun was shining through my window. It was a beautiful Saturday morning, and I decided I want the car. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I tell her, I said, call that guy up, tell him I don't want that car. You'll never guess what she says to me. Yeah, you got one of them? That's right. That's exactly what she said. You call him. What do you mean me call him? I asked you to do it. I didn't make the deal. I didn't ask you if you made the deal. I asked you to make the call. You're always doing this. I ain't always doing. I mean, it's got. You know what I'm trying to say? Man. I mean, it's a beautiful Saturday morning. We're in an argument. Dirty words are being spread, and yesterdays are being tossed. And without these stabs, yesterdays is the only defense I got. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this. I'm right there. I know. How do we get out of this? There was a little girl that went to Europe. And while she gave me this. And while she was in Europe, she visited all the cathedrals. And as she was going through the cathedrals, she asked the guide who the people were in the stained glass windows of those cathedrals. And the guide told her those were the saints. And when she got home and everybody asked that little girl what she'd seen while she was in Europe, she says, I've seen the saints. And when they asked her who the saints were in her innocence, this little girl said, well, the saints are the ones that let the light in. And I say this to you in my innocence because, man, I got it. You people in this room in Alcoholics Anonymous throughout, and particularly the deceased members of the Newberg group, let the light in for me. All that I have and all that I am and all that I ever hope to be got from you guys 27 years, 2 months, and 1 day ago. I had a year or two ago, I had a little kid living with me, not my kid, just a little kid. And first night he was with me, and I went to put him to bed and tuck him in. We did all that stuff that you do. And he said, and I went to leave the room, and I said, good night, and I love you, and all that other stuff. And he said, ho. Don't shut the light off. I said, well, why not? He said, I'm afraid of the dark. I said, Tony, I've got to remove the fear. Boom, shut the light off. 2 days later, I said, Tony, go down to the basement, give me a crescent wrench out of the weight room. And he said, Dad, he said, and I called me Dad. It's another sad, he had no idea who his dad was. Never met his dad. Sad, just one of those stories. And I said, Dad, I can't go down to the basement. I'm afraid of the dark. I said, Tony, turn the light on. Turn the light on. See, I firmly believe God will always do for me what I cannot do for myself. All I have to do is ask him and then let him. But with equal affirmation, I believe God will never do for me what I can do for myself, no matter how much I beg or plead. They should make a prayer like that. You know, give me what I can, give me serenity, give me... Thank you for letting me be in Long Island. God bless you.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone or through this Android phone through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.